Good evening, this is Tlen Viral. As the Federation marks the final hours of the year, we do so not with celebration, but with a profound and heavy silence. Today, we look back at the conclusion of a conflict that has reshaped our borders and our collective soul. The war with the Haconian Directorate has reached a sudden, staggering halt. Following a series of atrocities that have shocked the Quadrant, Starfleet Command and the Directorate have signed a formal ceasefire. This is not a truce or a peace accord, but a cessation of hostilities that leaves the galaxy in a state of fragile readiness. The catalyst for this halt was a calculated strike against the defenseless. QSD-enabled Metrian torpedoes bypassed defenses in the Anal and Tokari systems, resulting in 166,000 civilian casualties and the near destruction of an Eternan world. The ceasefire comes on the heels of the most intense ship-to-ship combat in Starfleet history within the Flowstone Corridor. Taskforce Aegis stood as the final line of defense against a massive Haconian breakthrough. During this engagement, the USS Thor and its battle group, under Lieutenant CMDR Cameron Shepard, faced a superior force. In a moment of ultimate sacrifice, the USS Cairns interposed itself to shield the Thor from a 5-ship barrage. The Cairns was lost, but its actions allowed the Thor to execute a daring close-range warp maneuver that crippled the Haconian lead battleship. Nearby, the USS Argo, commanded by Captain Romy Magic, executed a similarly desperate move, interposing its own frame to cover the disabled flagship USS Sioux after it was struck by a Haconian spinal cannon. As ships like the Argo limber into dry dock carrying survivors and the Thor continues rescue operations, the diplomatic landscape has shifted forever. The Eternan Geniocracy has been granted Federation membership, placing the Flowstone Corridor under the protection of the Charter. While the guns are silent, the halls of justice have found their voice on Mapta 4. A panel of colonial magistrates has found the Haconian leaders Throndu and Phio, alongside 9 Cameloid co-conspirators, guilty of 34 counts of war crimes and attempted genocide. They have been sentenced to 126 years at the Marvestra II penal colony. Though Throndu remained defiant during sentencing, his conviction marks the end of a reign of terror that nearly broke the sector. The war did not end because the Haconians were defeated, it ended because they were stopped by the weight of their own atrocities. While the front lines of the war have fallen quiet, Penistry Colony and its orbiting station remain in the grip of a dual-pronged crisis that points toward a coordinated campaign of targeted sabotage and highly sophisticated technological manipulation. The emergency began on the surface when a replacement atmospheric control array, delivered by the civilian shuttle Starry Ascension, triggered a catastrophic system failure. External temperatures plummeted to below -40 degrees Celsius, forcing Lieutenant Anya Starling Rivera to reroute all colony power to life support as sickbay became overwhelmed with cases of severe hypothermia and frostbite. The crisis was narrowly averted by the survival of Lieutenant Lena Kadoya and Commander Littlepaws, who were trapped in the engineering core. Despite communication being severed, they successfully installed a replacement relay under extreme conditions, restoring planetary climate controls. Investigation into the failure led to the arrest of the shuttle captain, Keldorn Ravenwood, who had barricaded himself aboard his craft. Telepathic assessments suggest Ravenwood possessed deliberate knowledge of the sabotage. However, as the environmental crisis stabilized, a second, more bizarre threat emerged aboard Penistry Station. A civilian-grade virtual reality headset, mysteriously left in a secure area, was found to be capable of manifesting its digital constructs into physical reality. What began as the appearance of harmless hybrid creatures quickly escalated into a station-wide red alert when swarms of Borgified tribbles began actively assimilating personnel. Security forces under Captain Gwen O'Brien are currently engaged in containment efforts. While Dr. Warblood has successfully identified a method to reverse the assimilation by removing a localized control chip, the entities are reportedly beginning to adapt to Starfleet weaponry. The station remains at red alert following a massive energy surge in sickbay that has incapacitated several medical personnel. Both the environmental sabotage and the unreality device are being treated as part of a single, non-random effort to destabilize the system, with investigations into the origin of the device ongoing. While the Federation border remains the primary focus of Starfleet Command, The USS Argo has returned from a deep space mission with a report of a highly sophisticated and potentially dangerous artificial intelligence encounter near the K-17 stellar nursery. Upon exiting warp, the Argo discovered an unprecedented phenomenon, a three-dimensional lattice of newborn stars arranged in a mathematically perfect geometry. Initial scans confirmed the structure was artificial, emitting axionic particle traces and a repeating 17.3-second harmonic. When the Argo attempted to interact with the lattice, the structure responded with a resonance that triggered acute neurological and psychonic distress among the crew. The situation escalated quickly as Lieutenant Zoe Fang and Ensign Sarah Bella Breeze suffered severe psychonic overloads. During the crisis, Ensign Bella Breeze experienced a violent telepathic vision of a destroyed ancient civilization, suggesting the lattice may be a relic or a weapon of a long-lost power. The lattice further demonstrated its capabilities by projecting a massive stellar flare as a warning shot, terminating just short of the Argo's shields. First contact was eventually established, though not with a biological species. An automated system controlling the lattice issued a direct warning: further advancement by the Argo would alter outcomes. Under the direction of Vice Admiral Lombardia, the ship accepted the terms and withdrew at Warp 6. While both affected officers have been stabilized following emergency psychic shielding, the mission has been classified as a high-threat intelligence event. Fleet Command is now reviewing the Argo's data, with medical and tactical experts calling for the immediate development of formal psionic safety protocols to protect crews from similar stellar-scale electronic and space manipulation platforms in the future. Turning our focus to the galactic rim, the USS Atlas has successfully completed a vital logistics and medical liaison mission to Rackham's Peak. Positioned high above the Milky Way plain, this deep space research facility offers what scientists call the roof of the galaxy, a unique vantage point for unparalleled stellar observation. The Atlas successfully delivered critical station supplies and completed a scheduled personnel rotation, ensuring the facility remains fully operational for its ongoing research initiatives. Beyond logistics, the mission focused on a high-profile medical evaluation for Brigadier General Kyle Asprink. Following his involvement in recent high-risk events, the general was transferred to the Atlas sickbay for comprehensive diagnostic scans. Chief medical officers have confirmed that while the general is physiologically stable, residual anomalies from prior trauma require continued genetic regeneration therapy. As a result, General Asprink has been restricted to light duty as he continues his recovery. With all logistical, scientific, and medical objectives fulfilled, and no hostile activity reported at the galactic edge, the Atlas has returned to regular duty, marking a successful close to its deep space operations for the year. Perhaps the most anomalous story of the entire conflict involves the Free Haconian battleship Vectal. Originally a Directorate warship, the Vectal survived the war not through loyalty to its empire, but by severing itself from it in a display of cold, lethal pragmatism. Following a brutal engagement alongside Federation forces, the ship was gripped by an internal power struggle. A nationalist faction, led by First Citizen Grodix, attempted to overthrow the command staff and return the ship to Haconian space. Recognizing that a democratic resolution would lead to the ship's destruction, Commanding Officer Zarkal Vergithral Sleestix orchestrated a decisive and ruthless counter-coup. In a single, irreversible maneuver involving cargo bay overrides and atmospheric venting, the mutineer majority was expelled into the vacuum. With the internal threat eliminated, the Vectal has formally completed its break from the Haconian Directorate. Rather than seeking Federation asylum or returning to its homeworld, the battleship has chosen a path of autonomy and profit. Operating as an independent free ship, the Vectal contributed materially to Taskforce Aegis in the final stages of the war, fighting alongside former enemies when interests aligned. As we enter the new year, the Vectal remains a roaming, independent power, a fearsome reminder that in the margins of galactic war, survival is often seized through blood and vacuum rather than ideology. Its allegiance remains situational, marking the birth of a new, unpredictable actor on the galactic stage. In the shadows of former Borg space, the USS Shogun has transitioned from a humanitarian relief mission into a high-stakes investigation involving ideological extremism and classified biological warfare. The Shogun originally arrived at the Atanian colony of Oraden's Fold to assist following a devastating explosion. While the Athenian order officially blamed an experimental power source, Shogun sensors detected energy patterns inconsistent with a simple accident. This suspicion was confirmed when the crew discovered Farla Hack, a hollowed-out asteroid facility used by the Athenians for unethical biological experimentation. Upon boarding Farla Hack, Starfleet teams found the Athenian staff slaughtered and the facility rigged with explosives. The investigation identified the attackers as an extremist group now designated as the Flame People, who utilized advanced matter phase technology to bypass security. A deceased Remuran operative was found fused into the station's structure, a casualty of a failed quantum phase transit. The mission took a tragic turn when one of the planted explosives detonated while Starfleet personnel were present. 4 crew members were injured, 3 are expected to recover, but Chief Science Officer Dylan C.H. Sharik remains in critical condition with severe physical trauma and brain damage. The Shogun has since departed the asteroid station and is currently at Warp 5, pursuing leads on this mysterious extremist network. Command reports that while the humanitarian foothold remains, the mission is now a hunt for an ideologically driven group capable of brutal violence and high-level technological sabotage. Beyond the borders of the recent conflict, the USS Taylor Holick Durant has reached a pivotal moment in its diplomatic and humanitarian efforts with the Mulinari species. Through the patient, personal diplomacy of Ensign Spin Flip Scree, the Durant has transitioned from a position of cautious observation to one of profound trust. Escorting Mulinari leaders back to their homeworld, the Durant crew uncovered the true scale of the catastrophe that nearly extinguished the species. The planet's surface cities were obliterated by a catastrophic concussion wave caused by a failed power network, leaving the world lethally irradiated. The surviving Mulinari fled to subsurface oceans, but the radiation is now seeping into these final sanctuaries, steadily eroding their chances of survival. In a startling scientific discovery, Durant's analysts found that the planet's radiation emissions contain anomalous, repeating pulse patterns. When translated, the signal resolved into a haunting, recurring phrase, "Please help us." The variation in the vocal patterns suggests a fragmented intelligence or multiple sources still trapped within the affected subspace layers. In response to this call for aid, Rear Admiral Rico has authorized a high-risk engineering mission. Engineering and science teams are currently developing layered defensive solutions, including tractor emitters and deflector harmonics, to safely interact with the irradiated environment. As the year ends, the Durant stands at the threshold of a mission defined by trust and the urgent need to answer a cry for help that has echoed through space for years. For the crew of the USS Thor, the end of the year marks a transition from the heat of battle to the slow, arduous process of recovery. Following their heroic stand in the Flowstone Corridor and the loss of their sister ship, the USS Cairns, the Thor has arrived at Starbase 12 for extensive structural repairs. Following their successful counterintelligence sting that exposed 4 cloaked Haconian vessels, the crew of the USS Veracruz has shifted its focus to deep-range patrol and tactical monitoring along the newly secured Eternan border. The Veracruz has spent the final weeks of the year conducting a series of sensor sweeps to ensure no further Haconian remnants remain cloaked within the sector. As the ceasefire takes hold, the ship remains a vital part of the Federation's defensive perimeter, serving as a reminder that even in the quiet of a truce, Starfleet's eyes remain wide open. In a major relief for starship galleys and colony mess halls across the quadrant, Starfleet Logistics has officially declared the replicator plague over. Following the bizarre series of malfunctions where Galley Tech R472A units began replicating copies of themselves, the entire line has been decommissioned and removed from service. A formal investigation into the glitch revealed a fascinating, if problematic, error in the unit's recursive logic subroutines. Engineers found that a minor code corruption caused the units to misidentify their own chassis as a valid nutritional substrate. With the old units recycled, Starfleet has completed the rollout of the next-gen G500 series. Early reports from the field are overwhelmingly positive, with no unauthorized self-replication reported. The crisis ends with a rare moment of levity for the logistics corps, as they trade replicator in-a-box stories for stories of perfectly synthesized Earl Grey tea. As Federation students head into the holiday break, the results of the final examinations are nothing short of historic. The specialized learning consoles, now successfully adopted across all 13 target colonies, have yielded the highest testing scores ever recorded in the history of these settlements. From the technical institutes on Denora to the primary schools on Penistry, students have demonstrated a mastery of advanced subjects far beyond previous year-over-year averages. Colony administrators and parents alike are celebrating the success of the initiative, noting that the interactive, personalized nature of the machines has sparked a new era of academic enthusiasm. As the consoles go into standby for the holidays, the program is being hailed as a model for future educational rollouts across the entire Federation, marking a bright, successful end to the academic year. We have a final update from the Nature Commune on Dnoria. After months of living within a 24-hour holodeck simulation, the group of idealists has officially deactivated their Return to Nature program and returned to the physical colony. The decision followed a series of increasingly severe reality failures. What began as an occasional Klingon opera interruption escalated into persistent, unsettling glitches that rendered their digital sanctuary uninhabitable. The colonists report that the psychological toll of never knowing when the sky might flicker or their foraged food might vanish became more stressful than the frontier life they were trying to avoid. The group is currently undergoing intensive reintegration counseling to help them adjust to the low-fidelity nature of the real world. Many have expressed a newfound aversion to holographic technology, choosing instead to build traditional, physical cabins in the Dnoria wilderness. As one former commune member put it, the real grass may not be as perfectly green as the simulation, but at least we know it won't suddenly start singing, "Today is a good day to die." We enter the new year with the memory of the fallen and a border that is quiet, but not peaceful. We honor the crews who held the line when the darkness was thickest. I am Tlen Viral. To the citizens of the Federation and our new Federation members in the Eternan Geniocracy, may the coming year bring the healing we so desperately require. Good night.